Elon Musk is officially the chief twit. What's going to happen here, David?
I don't think that anybody knows, but it feels ominous. And I'm somebody who's covered this back in April when all of this started to happen. I had my hotel room booked in Delaware. I was getting ready for the trial that never happened. And I'm left with no understanding of what he wants to do with the site. So he's talked about being a free speech absolutist. We've seen that start to erode over these last couple of days. We've seen really bad signs today of who's been let back on and what the discourse is like. I wonder what he wants to do exactly, how fully he's embracing this role as chief twit, as you say, or the person who owns this $44 billion product, so much as it is one, and also just what it means for discourse in this country, going back to what we were talking about before. And I've been thinking a lot about something you wrote about in your last book, Anton, which is the role of these very wealthy individuals in our society who, by virtue of that, being successful, having a lot of money, feel imbued to make decisions, feel right in making those decisions about how our society should act and how we should communicate and deal with one another.
And
that's the whole idea behind having power. And this is why it's so important and why I talk to people all the time about having money. I wanted to get a different spin. And so I decided to just come over, and I have not seen this video yet. I am reacting to it in real time because obviously you know that I'm aware of what's going on, especially from a financial perspective, of exactly what's happening over at Twitter. Elon Musk walked in, decided that he wanted to purchase the company. For a lot of you that's been living under a rock, Elon Musk had agreed in principle a long time ago to buy the company for roughly around $44 billion, in which obviously we know that it's not about being cash rich, it's about being asset rich. So he was able to acquire, even though his net worth shows that he's one of the richest men in the world, he was able to acquire loans against his assets in order to be able to acquire this company. Now, it's about being liquid, right? It's about what your net worth is. So obviously, Elon Musk was not sitting on $44 billion in cash, although he put up some of his own cash in order to buy it. But that's neither here nor there as far as this conversation specifically. The thing about it is that he walked in and he fired all of the leadership, basically, CEOs, COO, all of them out immediately. Don't feel sorry for them because they got a really, really nice payout, because that was just a part of their contract because they know what they was going to negotiate. I think that they wanted to keep their job because they wanted to keep that bag, but they got their payout. They'll be good. Don't worry about them. Now everybody else is on pins and needles because it's alleged that Elon Musk sent in his Tesla engineers to evaluate the work of Twitter's developers. So basically they going in and they looking at their code, and everybody is on Slack, and I have some people inside over there at Twitter. So it's pretty interesting knowing exactly what's going on, but they on pins and needles. A lot of people are on pins and needles, and some people are even possibly looking for another job because one thing about Elon Musk, if you've been following him for an extended period of time, you know that he don't play. He was one of the main owners, Tesla specifically, that was highlighting how, listen, if you don't want to come back to work and you just want to work from home for an extended period of time, this ain't the place for you. You're going to have to go. He operates on a lean ship. No bloatware, no extra middle management. A lot of people get mad at him because, he don't lean on unions, and he's not union friendly and all of that type of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the left is going to say, because I know MSNBC is a largely left leaning publication, but nobody was complaining when Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post, and he completely controls that aspect of the media, or when we have a mob rule mentality to have cancel culture, regardless of whether or not we agree or disagree with somebody. It's not about whether or not you agree or disagree with somebody. It's about how you go about doing things. And I'm frankly glad to finally have Elon Musk as the owner of Twitter, and I'm going to embrace the platform now. And I'm glad that he also took off Kanye West as far as being suspended, because we need people to have different opinions and conversation, and not just this woke culture, because it's gone too long, too far. And now they want to complain and say, well, it's the people that got too much power. Okay, let's see what else they got to say.
How much money they give to lawmakers, they then are controlling so much of our government. What do we do about this? And even when you think, as people are panicked over Twitter,
you don't own it.
Where has Congress been for all these years? As these platforms have become public square utilities, Congress has done nothing. And now we're all left at the whim of Elon Musk.
No,
this whole thing illustrates.
See, The interesting thing about it is that you don't have any entitlement to be able to do anything over at Twitter because you are not the owner of the company. See, when cancel culture went the way that you wanted it to go, you were okay with it. Now you want a bunch of government oversight? No. Listen, you can't do what you want to do now because now it's a private company. It's not a publicly traded company, and he can do whatever he wants with his company. And so, I find it so hypocritical that they want more government oversight when the whole idea behind being more conservative or Republican leaning is that we want less government, right? We want more of a capitalistic free trade market that allows for us to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And so you're not entitled in the same way that they were kicking people off. You are more than welcome to leave. What do you mean government? This is crazy, bro.
How American plutocracy functions. Because this guy,
look
Elon
at this
Musk,
guy.
If you were to just write down like the 3 biggest strategic problems Twitter has as a platform that they have actually earnestly been trying to address, but not nearly enough. You talk about disinformation. You talk about just kind of bringing out the worst in all of us. And you talk about hate and not protecting the people who use your community from marginalized groups. And this is a guy.
He threw that in there. He threw that last part in there from marginalized groups. He threw that in there. You're not marginalized. You're not in the Victim Olympics. Just because you got silver hair and a leather jacket don't mean that you speak for a bunch of other people because you're not unique. You're not cute. You are not different. You are a user that signed up and agreed to the terms of the service just like everybody else. And now you want to censor people and talking about marginalized groups. Can't stand it. Aggravate me, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad that Elon Musk bought Twitter and Kanye West is in principle supposedly buying Parler.
Those 3 problems. Yep. Like he is what those problems look like in the flesh.
Like that.
And so now the person who incarnates the problems is in charge of finding the search for solutions to the problems that he is.
Isn't it funny how Elon Musk was the darling man before when he was creating American jobs and came from nothing to something, and he wound up coming into wealth as a result of his Twitter, or not Twitter, PayPal. PayPal Mafia. One of the founding members of PayPal, and then he put all of his money. He is very much the definition of what you can do and what you can be. And you reap what you sow, because he put all of his chips into the basket in order to be able to push and build Tesla. And he's an American hero and a genius, in my opinion. And so you got suckers like this that don't actually add any values, never built anything in their life. And again, he wants to be the rad guy and got the stubble and all of this type of stuff. Listen, man, we don't really care about what you think. And we don't look at Elon Musk as a bad guy. He may or may not allegedly sleep with a couple of dudes' wives or whatever like that, but that's to be determined, and that has never been proven. We are tired of you controlling the narrative, and largely all of these media companies have been in charge of determining what we should and shouldn't feel and think. And now you have a free thinker that decides that he want to do things on his own, and you worried and you concerned about it now?
That's how this works, and that's how it's a closed loop. And the only answer to this is going to be real public force, as we have in the European Union.
Force.
We can copy and paste
ladies and
a
gentlemen,
lot of what they've done, but we need to have a real public response to these companies. This mug is subject to way more federal regulation. It's not a joke.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
A ton more federal regulation, not to mention the water in it.
Look at the people you got. I know it's a token black guy. I think I've seen him. You got 2 women who are largely the most protected people on the face of the earth. You got this, I don't know what he is, but he's certainly colored guy with silver hair, which in my opinion is a representation of different and maybe alphabet community and marginalized groups and all of this. Watch this. Let's continue.
Than any of these software platforms.
Got a beta white man right there. And then I have not heard this black guy talk, but you got the token black guy with the silver beard. So let's see how this plays out.
As we're talking about hate, we have to turn to Kanye. Obviously, Kanye West this week lost his...
We're going to talk about Kanye, so I'm assuming that they're going to ask the black guy what it is that he thinks.
Billionaire status, lost his contracts with Adidas, with Gap. But here's one of the ugly truths. He has been saying awful, hateful, largely anti-black things for years.
Sure.
Yeah, she's looking at the black guy, and now that's your cue. They talking to him in his ears. See, I already broke this down, how Kanye West's net worth did not go down. It actually went up. And if you want to see that video, make sure you go over to the channel. Go back to the channel and look at that video about how Kanye West's net worth actually went up, not down. They don't know what they're talking about.
Where were we all these years? Because during those years is when he made all that money and signed those big deals.
And I think that's the question that we should be asking. The question should be, Kanye didn't wake up and all of a sudden start spewing anti-Semitic remarks, and then from that point we decided he's no longer welcome here, your money's no good here. Kanye has been problematic in terms of his rhetoric for a very long time. He could walk out and say, well, slavery was a choice, and he gets rewarded with multi-million-dollar contracts across a number of different industries. That requires us to take some more accountability. That requires us to look in the mirror and say, why is it that if he talks about this group, that we immediately sanction him, but when he talked about these other groups over here, we kind of sort of let it ride. We didn't like it. None of us liked it, but we allowed it. And I think that in and of itself is an interesting conundrum, because now that he is being punished, as he has talked about certain groups, in some ways, unfortunately, it proves our point, or it proves his point, rather. The other thing that I want to say is that I think that Kanye
well, let me stop there, because first of all, his behavior has not been problematic. He just talks the truth, and he says what he thinks, and whether or not you agree with it or not, that's the idea behind being in America and why we're not in China. But he's 100% right. Why was he rewarded, and why were people choosing to do business with him when he was talking about black people and dealing with the problems and the issues or the things that you may or may not agree with when it became a black issue? But now that he's talking about what his problems are with the little hats, according to what some people like to refer to them as, because they don't want to say the J word, now it becomes a problem, and we need to stand up, and Drink Champs is removing the platform and all of this other kind of crap. He's 100% right. I want to see what he got to say. I want to see him finish this.
The great miscalculator. And what I mean by that is, I think that he took a calculated risk in his mind as to what he was going to lose by going into this battle, if you will, with the different companies that he was aligned with. He wanted out of those contracts. We know that. He was very public about that. And he realized, this is the nuclear option, and I'm going to take it. His miscalculation wasn't necessarily what he was going to lose. I believe that his miscalculation is much more connected to his ability, or what he thought was his ability, to regain it. That's why you saw him show up at Skechers and get turned away.
No, he had a film crew behind him, and he actually just went into a public store. And see, this is where the disinformation comes in. This is why we need the opportunity to be able to say what we want to say when we want to say it, because the narrative will get spent, even though I feel like he's the most important, he's the most unbiased and intelligent person on the panel. Obviously, he has no idea what he's talking about as far as showing up at Skechers. I don't believe even for a second that Kanye West was interested in doing business with Skechers. Anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you like the idea that Elon Musk actually went through and purchased Twitter, unblocking Kanye West, and determining whether or not the Twitter employees firing all of the executives, and then Kanye West's or Ye's calculated steps as far as making sure that he continues to take calculated risks, according to him, in which Kanye had already a long time ago said that he wanted to get out of his Gap and Adidas deals. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I like to get different people's perspectives, so I'm interested in what you think. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And if you need to get in touch with me personally, you want a coaching call or something like that, I'll put you on a Zoom call. I'll put you on a phone call. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. antondaniels413@gmail.com. I'd love for you to subscribe. Make sure that you hit the like button, turn on your notifications after you subscribe, and we're going to get it in. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you later. Peace.